Yo, what is up gamers, it's Sebastian here, and today I'll be doing a discussion type video. In this video I'll be examining Shaddolls and explaining to you why playing Shaddolls is just like playing a Magic the Gathering deck but in Yu-Gi-Oh! And why this is an obvious disadvantage. Okay, so before we can tackle why Shaddolls are like a Magic the Gathering deck, we need to ask, what's the deal with Shaddolls? So to answer that question, Shaddolls is an archetype of these little doll creatures that you find in horrifying movies such as Chucky and Toy Story 2. They're able to possess different people or monsters or whatever, all from dual terminal. I don't know why dual terminal, I don't know why specifically dual terminal, I'm not a lore expert, but apparently they have some intricate lore which is part of dual terminal. I'm too lazy to pick up a book, so I would never be able to tell you, but all that matters is the Shaddoll cards themselves and what they do. Well, each Shaddoll monster in the main deck, the relevant ones at least, have two effects. One where they are flip summoned, and the other one when they are sent to the grave. So the flip effects are like tap abilities in Magic the Gathering. Tap abilities are what some creatures have, where they are not able to activate the effect on the first turn, but they can in subsequent turns by changing their position from attack to defense. Much like in Shaddolls, if you set a Shaddoll monster, you're not able to activate its effect on that turn, but you can in following turns by changing it to face up attack position. Shaddolls are similar to these tap abilities that some Magic the Gathering creatures have, which is a comparison you can make between the game Magic the Gathering and the deck Shaddolls. However, this isn't just a flip deck, it's also a fusion deck, with many different fusion spells that you can play in this, such as Shaddoll Fusion, El Shaddoll Fusion, Invocation, Future Fusion, and Next Shaddoll Fusion. But being a fusion deck isn't so glamorous. There are many issues with being a fusion deck, such as needing to open the right ratio of fusion spells and fusion materials in order for the deck to function effectively, as it just simply will not have a good mid to late game curve if you did not open the right ratios of fusion spells to fusion materials. This can be quite similar to Magic the Gathering, how you need the right ratios of land to creature and other cards in order to have a good mid to late game curve, and in order for your deck to survive through the past few turns as well. Because if you do not open the right ratio of your lands and your creatures, you just will not be able to access your engine. Much like in Shaddolls, if you don't access the right ratio of your fusion spells and your fusion materials, you are just not able to get your engine rolling. This just shows how directly comparable Shaddolls are to a Magic the Gathering deck, where if you don't see any lands, you're not able to access your engine or do anything, but if you see too much of your cards but not enough of your lands, you can't do anything either. So you need to open the right ratio of both in order for your deck to function, and that's why I don't think Shaddolls are a good deck, because you're essentially enforcing Magic the Gathering rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! So not only are you abiding by Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules, but you're also abiding by Magic the Gathering rules versus an opponent who does not have to, which is going to hurt your tempo and it's going to decrease your speed of the deck, which is why I don't think this deck is great, because it's not really consistent in a sense, because you're abiding by the rules of two different games at the same time, especially where the Shaddoll fusion spells are also hard once per turn effect, so you can only use one of each Shaddoll fusion per turn, much like how you can only activate one land card per turn, which does further enforces more unnecessary rules that your Shaddoll deck will have to follow if you choose to play this deck. Now, this metaphor is something that you can expand on and use to talk about other fusion decks or other decks in general. However, the purpose of this video was to just talk about Shaddolls, and so I will keep this to Shaddolls. But one thing to mention is, you might be thinking, oh, Shaddolls, what about Shaddoll Invoked? Aren't they like a Magic the Gathering deck? And yes, the answer is yes. Shaddoll Invoked is also like a Magic the Gathering deck. If you want to talk about Alistair being able to fetch an invocation, which the point of this is, oh, you need to open the right ratios of fusion spells and fusion materials to function. How come there's a monster that can grab one of your land? Isn't that not something that you see in Magic? Well, the answer is no, this is something that you do see in Magic, be it in general just land searchers, or even cards like Nanowar Elves or other mana rocks, which is a term commonly used to describe cards and effects that just grab you more mana, which is something that Alistair does in this situation. And so to conclude, as I said at the start, I think Shaddoll's is just a Magic the Gathering deck. I think the deck is weak because you have to abide by 2 different rule sets at the same time. And this is a problem which I don't think many people understand when they pick up Shaddoll's, which is why I made this video, to try and educate newer players who might not understand why this might be an issue. If you think I'm right and that Shaddoll's are like a Magic the Gathering deck, the best way to show that you agree is by subscribing. And if you don't think I'm right and that Shaddoll isn't like a Magic the Gathering deck, the best way to show that you don't agree is by subscribing. And you can write comments down below to let me know how you thought about this video, and I'll see you gamers next time.